Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, first off, you're going to be like, why is Anton so short? I'm sitting in a chair just so I don't get the tiresome questions from people who think a person can just lose 3 feet of height week to week. But yeah, so I'm sitting here, and because it's hot and I'm tired, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff to futz with. Today is going to be showing off a whole bunch of fun new stuff to futz with that I am working on for the event system. So let's pull some of these things over here. To refresh you, if you didn't watch last week's devlog, basically I am working on an event signal system for H3. It's going to be the way that objects can communicate with each other, and the way to think about it is it's almost like wireless radio redstone in a way, in that basically there are numeric channels that numbers can be sent on. Some objects just use that as a signal to do something, just like whatever, no matter what number comes in, it just does its thing, and others use them in more complex ways. And so we've got I've got a set of fun stuff to show. We've got this sweet looking, those of you who've seen a picture of this in the Discord, this is our remote control gun, our remote gun that Stefan modeled, that is going to be super fun to play with. We will play with that. I will leave this as Chekhov's gun floating here for those of you waiting to see it. We have a device that can make some sound. We have some inputs like buttons and levers. We have a configurable light, and we have some stuff for generating events of various sorts. So let's dive right in to start. So let's first start with a simple object like a light here. This actually isn't that simple. It has a bunch of options for, it's got this cool little color wheel underneath. And we can basically, this light can receive events to do one of two things. It can receive an event to just turn on or flash or whatever it is set to. It's got several modes here, flash, toggle, and value, which I'll explain in a moment. And then it has the ability to receive a message to change its color. So let's just change this to blue, because I like blue. We'll have light mode set to flash, and it is currently set to receive light on channel 0. So if I just take my button here and say on down, send a message on channel 0, it will flash. I should have done this warning. There's going to be a lot of flickering objects in this, so if you have an epileptic problem or something like that along those lines, or just find it really, really unpleasant to look at flashing things, you might want to, I don't know, just make the video small on your screen or just listen along, etc. Sorry for not warning you first. So yeah, so we've got a button here. This is actually a prismatic joint, so I can, in fact, use the knife on it. I can shoot it, which is not how you should use a button, but hey, it's H3, so you can use the button that way. So we can trigger that, and I can similarly, if I wanted to create for myself let's go ahead and create a couple buttons. Set still our turn off light button here. I don't know, we could, if we set this to be toggle, it's now just on, and if I even wanted to, I could say, grab the light here, set receive set color, put that on channel 2, like, channel 2, close. Sorry, the UX of this is all still very new. I'm still getting used to it. Some of the stuff needs some major polish, but I could take a button here, and I could totally set this to be channel 2 and channel 2 here, and then give them different values. So I could give this a value of 3 and a value of 4. Oop. There we go. And now, as this goes down and up, it should... The up event is not firing. I wonder if that's like a gravity thing. Nope. It is not. It is just broken. There's our devlog bug. This should, in fact, be sending an event each way, but it is not. Let's see if this... Let's confirm that the button itself is broken. Yep, the button itself is broken. Weird. Oh, it's always something. Well, that should have changed colors, but you get the point. Let's turn these back off so they don't interfere with anything. We could use our 3-position switch here, however, and the what's called the value mode for the light, which basically turns it off when it receives 0 on its channel, turns it on if it receives 1. And so this is set channel 0, value 0, channel 0, value 1. So this should on and come on, off. There we go. This is also physics active. That's why it's a little glitchy at the moment. But yeah, we can push that on there. It will stick to a mid position. Off. And I'm pretty sure, can you show them this is a terrible idea? Got it up to the mid position. This is absolutely the correct way to use a switch, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Perfect. Oh, wonderful. So yeah, so there is another, and I've got 5 or 6 other sort of like basic inputs planned for this system, which should be useful for all sorts of hijinks. We've also, let's see here. I'll do the instrument in a bit. I know y'all are probably waiting on the remote gun. So I will do the remote gun, and we'll do that in, because that's a more complex thing to use in a moment. So the way the remote gun works, right, is that we've got buttons on it for test firing and toggling the breech. This basically can scan any cartridge that we put in it. So if I just go into shotgun, freedom fetty, and spawn that, toggle the breech, it can just fire that projectile. We can, of course, make this receive a message on a channel. So our button down here, so receive fire, channel 0, turn that into a button there. Or if we want to go even further, we can take an event generator like this, which this is the other way to think about the event generator is it's sort of like a clock. So I could set this to be channel 0 as well, and then hit start. Etc. So yeah. So that is how this is going to function, and once again, you'll be able to also send a message to toggle the breech. So if I set this to be channel 1, this is something that could be, let's see, channel 1, channel 1. This is something that could be used to open and shut the remote gun remotely. So if you wanted to use a thing flinger to fire a different shell into the back of your remote gun conditionally, you could do such a thing and then use something else remotely to fire it. Way too much fun. And yes, I know you're gonna ask, can you put something ridiculous into it, like, oh, I don't know, like a mortar shell? And the answer, of course, is yes. I'm here to please, folks. I am here to please. So yeah, and so this is designed so it can be positioned in any orientation freely. So if you wanted to set this up in a scenario to just literally be cinematically delivering random mortar fire into your level on like a timer, you could do things along that lines. There's all sorts. You could set up traps. There will be, I'm sure, many things you folks figure out to do with the remote gun. Let's turn those off so that we don't run into some issues with what you're going to do. And then there are other sorts of objects that can use the value coming through the channel more complexly. So I'm going to use a couple buttons here just for testing purposes. This is the event bleeper, and there's going to be probably some different versions of this. I'm trying to figure out how I want to delineate them, possibly a symbol on the top or something like that. But thanks to Joe, this he supplied me with a set of classic Casio synthesizer samples. And this is set up basically very, very similar to and if you've played Minecraft, a note block, in that basically it can receive a message to set its instrument, it can receive a message to set its volume, and it can receive a message to play. And the play message, it actually uses the value from 0 to 24 to play a specific note. So let's set this up. Let's create ourselves on channel 0 the ability to set a instrument for it. Let's set channel 1 for playing. So channel 1, beautiful. So that's just going to play that. If we change the value here, obviously we get a different note. We want to change our instrument. That's on channel 0. So I think I like the sound of this one. Yeah, that's a cool sound. That's just the max out at 24. Cool. So that's our testing. So now let's use our event random number generator to give us a random note on that channel. And once again, like this exact same sort of setup, this could be a random note coming out of a bleeper. This could be a random object emitter, a random SOSIG spawner. Try to think of all the tools that I'm showing you here. This is just like one example of a structure that you can use to apply to all sorts of scenarios as I build the other pieces for it. So yeah, so play channel min max, and then value, I don't know, like 0 to 12. We can test that output. Oh, you know what? The test output button is broken on that. I just have to hook this up to a generator. So let's start with a slow cadence. Huh. 0 is not working there. I will have to fix that. All these little bugs. So yeah, send output on channel 1. Actually, no, I want that to be... We'll use 3 for this. And yes, I plan to do like a debugging panel, so it's more easy for you to see which channels you're using and such, but this should work. That should send to that. Event 3. Output here, channel 1. Clear. There we go. So basically each time that this generator is firing, this random generator generates a value between 0 and 12 and sends it on channel 1. If we wanted to, we could even hook into this. Yep, flash. And then and there we go. We get a random colored flash. It's being clamped, obviously, because this is sending values between... actually, no, 1 and 12, 1 and 12. This is actually perfect. And let's speed this up. Oh, wonderful. Oh, goodness. Yeah, let's get ourselves a different bullet. Channel 1, eh? So there you have it. There is your little... So there is your little preview of what I've been working on. these over here are some more just sort of like utility nodes I'm working on. It's like the boring dryer stuff. This is an event router, so it can receive a message to sort of route an event to another channel and then sort of pass through that output. These are event splitters, so if you need to synchronize things perfectly, this can be across multiple channels. You can do that with this, where it just takes in one input, sends things in to various outputs. So yeah. Whew, too much fun. Anywho, let me jump out of VR and talk about sort of like what else I'm sort of working on to get together the sort of initial set of this system sort of robust enough to test and play with. Yo, out of VR, sitting here overheating, not in the best mood, truth be told, as for, well, you'd have to be living in the caves and not understand why. It's a pretty awful day for a lot of folk today, and truth be told, I wasn't even sure I was going to be making a video today with everything going on, but I figured at the very least some of y'all could probably use a bit of a distraction. So here I am, being a distraction with event system nonsense. But yeah, beyond what I showed you folks today, I actually have just like a huge to-do list for things in terms of like the sort of abstract event sort of objects. In addition to the generator and the random number generator, there's going to be a few things. There's going to be counters, which is going to be super important for like people who want certain sorts of scoring behavior in a scenario. Like if you want there to be something where a set of targets each sends a single message when they get dropped over to something, and when all 4 targets have been dropped, something fires. That's what an event counter will be for. They'll be very simple to set up. As I said, I've got some more sort of input stuff I want to go in. There's probably going to be some like number comparators and arithmeticers and things like that. Something that sort of functions as like a bit of memory, basically. And there's also going to be, just your classic logic gates. I'll be the first to admit I'm not good with logic gates, truth be told. I don't know, maybe I just never learned Boolean math right back in the day in school, but yeah, there'll be a configurable logic gate that will plug into this, which will all put together, I think, both make H3 Turing complete, but it should mean that pretty much everything that you could want to do from a routing standpoint between any abstract group of elements, player inputs, sensors that I eventually build, and things like that will be able to plug together. One of the things, I know some of you are probably like, when are we going to get a build to play with? This is one of those systems that, because of the fact that I'm still sort of like doing a lot of foundational engineering work with this set, even down to like, how does event input work? Like you could see from the video you just saw there were a bunch of instances where like I opened up the channel and I wanted to set it to 9, but there was already a 1 there, so it set it to 19, and then I had to clear and then go back and hit 9 again. There are about a bunch of like core UX things that I am still tweaking and trying to make feel good with the various sorts of inputs. And so I don't want to put this out, and more importantly, I don't want to put this out in a way that people are starting to like save and share levels, which I know you're going to immediately do, until I am sure that the core is robust and that it doesn't have dumb decisions present in it. And honestly, that it's like, how to put this? The game is still so centered around guns and the SOSIGs and things. I don't see a point in putting this out to robustly test until I actually hook the bot systems into it. So I'm going to be continuing to work on this realistically for a couple more weeks, possibly the whole month of July. Just getting content features in, a new environment or two to play around with this in before moving into an experimental branch of all of this. Because, as I said, the situation that I want to avoid is releasing too early, having people start to build cool stuff with it, I get several weeks more into building objects and realize that there's something major that I want to change about the way the event system works, or even just what objects are present or not. And then I have to deal with the fact that people have like stale save game data, or they've gotten used to the way it worked, and now I want to change everything, and now I have to deal with that. So this is one of those situations that, because I have finally on this third try gotten the system working, it appears to be reasonably robust, and it's doing what I want. I want to make sure I do it right and that I'm not rushing it. So I beg your patience. And one of the things that in part to sort of help deal with that, and to help not just have what I show off in the weekly devlogs be the only thing you see of this, I'm probably going to start streaming again, probably like once a week, while I actually work on this event system. So those of you who care can see things come along and see me test and play with these things in a bunch of ways, but also just as a sort of open forum, as folks who hang out to watch can sort of see the way this system works and contribute sort of ideas and feedback in process, seeing as it will be a little bit longer until I actually get this into your hands. So yeah, so that's my stuff for this week. I hope you all stay as well as you can over the weekend and such. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you all next week. Peace.